amount of time with Kelly. So if you're going to ask a question, there's a box in the bottom, the chat box here. There's a few people coming in. Julie has said, Kelly, you will be brilliant. I'm sure you will. That's fantastic.
No expectation.
No, that's all. Ingrid from Shetland Soap has said, hello. Hello from Shetland. So that's nice. We're just having a wee chat. And then you've got Elizabeth Hudson from Swansea. There we are. I'm saying this like you'll know everyone in Wales, but thanks very much for coming on to the webinar today. And it's nice to meet you in person. We've obviously been chatting for we chatted today. We've been back and forwards on emails. Just to kick things off, can you just tell us a little bit about the Goodwash company, how the idea came about, and what it is you do?
Yeah, so I'm Kelly, and I'm the co-founder of the Goodwash company. I think the idea really came about probably about 2 years ago. If I'm being honest, I think I'd burnt out from my first social enterprise viability, and I probably didn't realise it at the time, but I had, and I'd lost a bit of motivation for that. But I wanted to do something in the social enterprise space, and I wanted to continue being a social entrepreneur. And I met Mandy, the other co-founder, at an event, and basically I was talking about the social enterprise model and how it works, and she came up to me and she says, what do you mean you reinvest all your profits, and how does that work? And basically she'd been working for a pharmaceutical company. They'd been making millions and millions of pounds, and she was questioning the bigger purpose. And I turned around and said to her basically, well, if you're really passionate about it, why don't you quit your job and do something with me then? And I thought that would be the end of the conversation. And she got hold of my number, and the week after she said, I've actually quit my job now, so what's the social enterprise we're going to launch? And I was like, oh, actually, I don't really know, but we wanted it to be we could see that there was a shift for commercial products that actually did good, because actually people were becoming more conscious about what they wanted to do. So we wanted to do something on that. We also wanted it to be Welsh, because actually we've got a lot of issues in Wales that, often get overlooked, like the poverty line in Wales is actually ramped up, and obviously it's probably going to get worse. So we wanted to do something for Wales. We didn't have any sort of particular, most people have, I want to tackle this issue, whereas we were more like, actually there's lots of issues, and why do we need to be put on a spot on what it should or shouldn't do? Can't we just have that? It improves the lives of animals and people, and we'll be quite reactive to it. We got some friends around the table, as often these things do, and said, actually, what could it be? Mandy was very specific on she wanted a luxury product, because she wanted to challenge the notion of you can't have luxury and poverty in the same conversation. So basically we wanted to break all the rules of you can't do this, and actually you could. And it quickly became something like, is it something that people use every day? Oh, okay, what's that? Had underwear been done? Yes. Had chocolate been done? Yes. Had anything been done in Wales around wash products? And it was like, no, there's a gap there. And all of a sudden we then looked at, well, I think a comment came out where you need a good wash. Great idea. So it really let's call it the Goodwash company. And then it was around looking at, we wanted a luxury product that was vegan or natural, or the ingredients came from Wales or from British made companies. So there was very that sort of local social thing. And we literally put it on, actually we want to use the profits, and we want to create a pot of money, and that's how we would do it. We went to several agencies and different things, and we quickly became frustrated, I would say, by the fact of people were like, you need to put a daffodil on it, or you need to put a dragon on it so it's Welsh. And we were like, actually no, that's not it either, and we want we want people to be able to have a bath and learn, if they're learn a bit of Welsh as well. So that's basically how it started, really. So we're a luxury wash brand on a mission to change the world one wash at a time. We're going to use our profits to run projects either ourselves or with people that can do it better, or where it's most needed. And as long as it improves the lives of animals and people, we can be quite reactive to where the need was. and that's what we started.
That's what you did. That's what you did. So it's a great product. I've got some of them here. There's the hand wash, and then we've got hand lotion, and I have some soaps as well. The packaging, it is really kind of, it's like you're saying, you can tell it's a kind of environmentally friendly brand, and all the ingredients are natural, and that's the thing. With the actual brand yourself, you were saying you were speaking to people, got frustrated because people were saying, put a daffodil on a dragon. It's kind of like the shortbread kind of image of Scotland, I guess. Where was this coming from? Is it from the kind of ecosystem and within Wales, or was it from?
Yeah, so it was, I think in Wales you have sort of the business support, the traditional business supports, and then they put you in mentors, and straight away we were very much put with mentors, and suddenly it became a place where we actually had to remove ourselves slightly from it. Not any fault to theirs, but we were quite strong on what we wanted this brand to be and what we didn't want it to be. And actually it was to start challenging the stereotypes of, if it's Welsh, it's got to have a daffodil on, and it's got to have a dragon on it. It's got to be traditional Welsh language. It's got to be said like this. Actually, you know, even we had social people that pushed me on, well, you have to have a buy one, give one model. And it was like, well, no, you don't actually. Or actually, you're not being specific about the cause. And it was sort of like, well, no, because the cause can change at different points, and actually that plays to our benefit, as we're probably seeing now, because we can be reactive to the need. And sometimes there's so much red tape around what you can and can't do, that's what we wanted to remove. So I suppose we were sort of strong in the belief that this is what we wanted to do, and even though people shaked us up a little bit, we still stayed true to it.
And having run a social enterprise before, obviously you've done one before, you've probably seen some of this before, you've been in the ecosystem. Did that make you think differently about setting up another social enterprise? Did it kind of give you a different, was the experience of doing that, do you think, did it make you just more clear on what the
I think I mean, I've been in social, and I only know football, and I only know social enterprise, and the other social enterprise was football, and I can categorically sort of the two are not the same.
Okay, they're not.
Well, they can cross over slightly, but it's very different talking to football club owners and how you do things in the community to run in a beauty brand and a retail organisation. Okay. But I think what it does is, and I think a lot of people that know me and are very honest about stuff, but you need a great deal of resilience in business and social enterprise particularly, because, you know, business is hard. It's not an easy thing. Otherwise, everybody would be doing it. There's ups and downs all the time. And then when you've got the social aspect as well, you've got this bigger ask of having to deal with people and battles that they're going with. So I think over 10 years, you sort of build up this understanding and knowledge. And sometimes you just have to trust that you know that these are the things we want to do and these are the things we don't want to do. So I think that came quite through very early on in the stage, that actually these are the things we were going to do, and regardless of what people said we were going to be quite strong on that
message. So you're trading along, you've been operating for about 2 years, registered for 18 months. You're building building your trading model. You're speaking to different suppliers, different trade suppliers. That's taken off. The online sales are taking off. And then a global pandemic happens, and here we are. So tell us about basically the journey up until just now. And
we didn't forecast for it.
Did you put that into your SWOT analysis?
No. Well, I think we might have put something in somewhere, but not for this to this extent. I mean, we've been trading for, it is 18 months. The idea was in fruition. So, and we were starting to get, I would say we were at the stage where we were starting to get traction in the market. So we knew that people had tried the quality of the products, because regardless of what anybody says, people buy on quality.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have a really rubbish social product and think you're going to get away with it because you've got a good cause. People buy because of the quality and the service, and then that's the added benefit on top, I think, or that's our experience.
Absolutely. Rachel Brown from the Retail Academy, she always says, don't shop with your own wallet. Like, think about what other people are looking to, and people don't really care as much, or they do care about the social cause, but it's the product itself.
Yeah, and you really can't take granted that everybody will feel the same and the same path. We're all on the social bus, so to speak.
Yeah.
You can't assume that everybody else will be on it as
Mhm.
well. So that was really important, and we were starting to get traction. And then we were looking at the next we were opening a flagship store in Wales. We'd got into Harrods and John Lewis, and things were starting to come, and we planned for that and planned up for the ramping up of everything. And then all of a sudden this hit, and it was like, oh, how do we continue trading in this? And how, I was in North Wales because we had some operations up there. Mandy's in South Wales. How do we manage the risk of us not being together and shutting the business down completely? How do we move people out? Can we basically run it from the front room? And is my mother and father, who I'm actually was staying with, are they going to cope with the house suddenly being taken over completely by boxes everywhere? So we've managed to get through it. It's, I would say we're fortunate that our online trades have just gone through the roof. They literally have, and have sort of covered any gaps in terms of the trade business. It's just gone completely. But it's just really challenging, and we're basically in the mode of crisis management all the time. And maybe because we're social entrepreneurs or in the social sector before, that you get used to that. So actually you ride it out. And actually I've been going for daily runs and been thinking about things as you do and different things like that. And I was just wondering, actually, have many of us, to a certain extent, you can feel really sorry for yourself and down, and you do have those days and you think, oh, how am we going to get through this, and what's the next difficulty with a supplier? But then there's also an element of, and I don't know if it's me, and I'll admit it, there's an element of, oh, isn't it good that we can step up and do something in this time, that we can be the ones that come and a bit of a buzz of being able to do something to help. And I don't know if I'm, just the only one thinking that, but it's sort of helped us, I think, inspired us to basically say, well, actually now is the time to step up and be able to do something.
I think it'd be interesting. There's some other social entrepreneurs who've tuned in. I've certainly spoken to people that have said they've had a similar experience, where actually the initial shock of it, after that dissipated, they were kind of, right, here's a challenge, let's go for it. And it's presented other opportunities sometimes. How have you said you're going for runs, and you're saying that it's you're crisis managing all the time. It's probably, I can imagine, coming in waves. Have you found yourself from maybe the start of the week to the end of the week, that you've had peaks and troughs and tried to manage your own kind of like well-being? How have you been managing to do that? And can you kind of share some experiences?
I think sort of, and I've droned on about it a lot, particularly over the last 12 months, about how we need to protect social entrepreneurs and leaders and people that are around their well-being, because it's ultimately a lot of people that take on a pressure and always feel like they're the ones that have to step up and lead. So it's really important that actually you take time out to have some time to yourself. Or I won't deny, probably on a Monday I start at like 9 and I've been doing the whole till 10 o'clock at night, and then I sort of get to a Thursday afternoon like now, or Friday, and I'm like, oh, I really need to switch off, and I need a glass of wine or something. And I've been taking the Friday and the Saturday off and then going back into it on the Sunday, just because the volume of orders that we'll get over a weekend just put huge pressure on the team. So you have to step up. So I'd say it's sort of, you're in that Monday sort of adrenaline. And then you sort of peter it through, and I've managed it every day. I've sort of said, right, I'm going to go for a run in the morning. I'm going to get it out of the way, because I know if I go into work, I won't be able to come out of it, because I know me. So I just think it's really important that people take time out to do different things, jigsaws, or
whatever floats your boat. So
we have to look after ourselves, because at the end of the day, we won't come out of this otherwise. It'll just, it might be 2 months down the line where it hits, and it's like, why didn't we take care of ourselves properly? Or defeats the object.
It's I mean, you make a really good point. Initially, we were kind of thinking this is a short-term period, but actually, you know, we're kind of settling into what a lot of people have been describing as a new normal at the moment, and we will come out of it, but we're thinking about, I guess, what that looks like for different social enterprises. And you mentioned
different people as well, because different people have got different challenges. So like Mandy's in Barry and she's on her own, so she's actually not seeing people. So it's really important that she has that interaction and the daily calls and the communication runs through. I'm in complete opposite in that I've gone back like 20 years. I'm now living with my mum and dad, and I'm living in a small tiny bedroom basically, and I've still got my in football duvet covers and different things. It's just a whole different challenge. So no, you can't basically put a blanket on this one fit, you know, this rule fits everybody. It's sort of different really, for everyone.
Absolutely, and everyone kind of copes differently, and it's a different experience for everyone. Tell us about, I mean, you were saying before, it's really interesting that you've chosen a model where it's a luxury brand, and I liked that kind of phrase you used before, where you kind of want to dispel the myth that you can't have luxury, but then have a social conscience and spend your money how you want actually in your social enterprise. Tell us about some of the projects that you've supported in the past, because I know in terms of the actual product, you also have animal doggy wash, which Julie in her team has purchased and she loves it. But if you could tell us about some of the causes.
Yeah, so there's two things. Like I was a people person and I wanted to help people, and Mandy was very much like I'm a animal person. And my fur babies are basically part of the family, and to the point where she would actually have a wash with a dog.
Right.
And so we were on different spectrums, but we wanted to say, well, actually, it's, you know, they're important members of the family, but they're also really badly treated at times as well. And particularly in, you know, animals have proven in this time, particularly, a dog can be a really good friend to somebody and different things. So it was really important with that. So we said we wanted to improve lives of animals and people, and we would look at different projects that we could support. So in Wales, it was like with the rescue centres around dog, you know, puppy farming and different things like that. So we wanted to, basically the model was we'd sell the products, we'd reinvest the profits, generate a fund, and then give it to the different causes. And we've supported anything from the dog charities to the homeless charities tackling youth I think it became pretty apparent. And I think the key thing that I think people are starting to get it now, because people are more in on the journey. Mm-hmm. If anybody thought that Goodwash was just about selling a product, taking the profit and donating it to loads of different charities, we'd be doing ourselves a big disservice, because actually we do a huge amount of good in our business model as well at every point. So we choose to buy social in the supply chain wherever we can, and I think last year we spent about 30,000 in our first year on social enterprise supply chains, and in a lot of cases a huge amount of work was done to actually put the supply chain in, so to make the social enterprise be our supplier.
Okay.
It could be really straightforward in terms of our wash bags with Elvis and Krez. They could do as a straightforward wash bag. No, that was straightforward, but then there was other charities or different groups in Wales that were on their knees a little bit and were looking for a tradable income stream, and we were able to go there to them and go, actually, do you know what, if you could make us a candle and we want it to look like this, we want it to smell like this, we will buy it from you, and then you can use the money yourselves to keep yourselves going. And that took a lot of work, because we were basically giving them a tradable income and a way of working, and we did that. So there's things like that a lot of people don't see at the moment, but it's right the way through, even to the point of our Welsh translation. It's not just out of a book, it's not Google. We've created our own words, like Welsh conditioner never really existed, and we created we created Sidan Gwallt, which for a lot of people means silky hair. So there's a loads of work that goes in behind the scenes around what makes Goodwash really special. I think we're hoping that will come out over time around, actually, you know, the ethos of the company and the purpose is actually drilled right down into all the values and all the supply chains, and it will take time, but it's something
That's
we've got to
important.
really work on, getting that message across, that we're just not about getting all the profits and donating it. We do a huge amount internally, and obviously you'll see at the moment with the COVID that we've donated all of these. We've done that internally, so yeah.
And that's important. I think we were chatting before actually, but it feels like we're going through a bit of a shift in society where people are searching for kind of the values and things, and actually people are more conscious and are looking towards brands and how they respond in this time, and looking at, maybe much larger commercial brands and seeing, how are you responding to this situation? And there's a view that people will remember that after COVID, with how they choose to spend, and yeah, and how they've operated. It sounds that that's been very integral to your model. It's every part of your business, and it's something you want to continue.
Yeah, I think it's something even with the previous, if you can't, no matter who the marketing or, and you could have the best marketing and the brand people, if you're authentic, you're authentic about
Yeah.
it. And I don't think you can recreate authenticity without it actually being there. So over a period of time, what people they begin to see actually these are the true values of the company. These are how they react and I think we've found that we've got that touching point at the moment where during this crisis, people have really seen that actually we go above and beyond. So we're not only donating the
Tell us about that. So during COVID-19, you have gone above and beyond.
Yeah, so we wanted to sort of, how can, the biggest thing at the moment is you need to wash your hands and stay safe. So we straight away thought, actually, well, we've got, we can create these soap bars or ration bars. We can distribute them to the food banks and different things like that. So we wanted to do that straight away, and it took quite a lot of capacity, if I'm being honest. We didn't have a stockpile of stuff. We wanted
pretty gorgeous. So
and we also wanted to make sure that what people were like, well, people have already got soap. Well, actually, you know what? When you're a worker and you've been using, the high alcohol stuff, at the end of the day, you might just need a luxury, sort of a higher quality hand lotion that just removes it or makes you feel better, or something you can. So it was something we could do. It seemed a no-brainer, and we thought, actually, yeah, okay, we're just going to go for this. So yeah, we're distributing. I think we've distributed over 4,500 packs to NHSs. There's stuff going out all the time. We've got some more stuff coming out. So probably by the end of all this, we'll probably be close to 10,000 packs that will go out for different things. So yeah, it's something
that's brilliant.
We're really proud of. It's something we could do, and we're fortunate to do it, basically.
And things that people will remember. You're doing it for all the right reasons also, and so it's doing good in this time. People will remember going forward. I've got so there's a few questions coming through from people that have tuned in. One came through actually, and I think it's from. So, are you having problems getting raw ingredients? This is from our friends in Shetland, from Ingrid. Any issues with raw ingredients? And
so we're sort of
okay.
I can feel the pain.
Right. Okay. Maybe it's an offline discussion also.
Yeah. No. It's suddenly as well, because not only do you have the normal supply chain issue, but what you've got is a lot of people jumping on the back of wanting to launch hand sanitizers, soaps, because they just see a gap in the market and a commercial opportunity, and they start wiping through. I think, if I'm being honest, and I think it helped me, my dad used to run a food packaging company. And he, as soon as he started in January seeing different stuff everywhere else, he was like, stockpile where you can, stop even now. So we actually stockpiled potentially in January for this. So we've only had to do the top ups, and we've been able to
that's interesting.
3 from maybe a 2-week lead time suddenly goes to 6 weeks lead time, suddenly goes to 12 weeks. And we had that 12-week thing in, and I've got to give my dad the credit there, because he was like, actually, do you know what? Oh, sorry, I'm leaning against the wall.
That's okay.
You've got to basically, don't sit with the money in the bank, stockpile now. You'll always get rid of it and take the risk. Really, but it was a bit of luck, if I'm being honest, because it is hard at the moment.
I can imagine, but I mean,
who your suppliers are as well, that you thought that were really loyal to you, and actually they couldn't give a.
Really, that's interesting. So you remember those certain suppliers after COVID, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And the ones that would be good to you. A few other questions coming through. Just saying that actually some people saying that it's an amazing job to undertake, and people saying England have been saying they're waiting on supplies from February which have been offered, so it's a common challenge
as well. And I think it depends. I think maybe sometimes you're quite lucky at depending on where geographically you're located as well, because
sure.
You know, we've noticed that even with our online orders, if any have gone down even to Scotland, there seems to be a bigger delay on it. So I don't know if that. So I think geographically as well, it does have a big impact on things. And there's no one fit rule, but it's just really tough. You know, if anybody says, "Oh, great, look at," it's tough.
Tough out. That's why I think actually these conversations with people running social enterprises just now, they're just really reassuring, I think, for anyone that's running a social enterprise about the fact that it is tough, and it's all kind of I guess down to the hard work that people like yourself are putting in. Would you say, just a kind of like final question, would you say that in terms of people that are running social enterprises just now, is there any kind of lasting thoughts or kind of suggestions for, you were saying to keep yourself kind of like well and keep yourself on top, you spoke about a routine, is there any kind of like final kind of thoughts or comments that you would give to people?
I mean, I'm not gonna I'd like to think I'm very honest about stuff. I'm not going to be, you know, I've had moments where I have been like, oh my God, why on earth are we doing this? Because there is that I'm a social entrepreneur. I don't think I'd be kidding myself if I went and got another job. I'd probably be sacked within a week, because I wouldn't deal with somebody telling me what to do, or that I couldn't do anything. So I think you've just got to stay true to the belief that actually this is the reason why we're doing it, and also true to the belief that actually people will see what social enterprise is, and they will remember at the end, because you know, you could say, well, everybody's saying that everybody's going to think differently, but will the result to type up? So you've just got to have that inner belief that actually we can come through this. People will back us. So those funders that maybe aren't backing us now because we fall between the lines, they will see what we're doing. And if we do encounter problems in the future, or we need a bit of help, they'll be there for us like we were there for other people. So I think you've just got to believe in that true humankind touch and think, well, we'll get through it.
And you'll power through it. It's just good advice for people to keep on going through. It's been lovely to speak to you, and thank you so much for your time. I know how incredibly busy you are at the moment, and actually time is precious. So thank you very much, and we'll look forward to speaking to you in the future. It's always great to keep in touch with Retail Academy alumni, and great to see you doing well.
No, thanks for having me, and thanks to everybody that's here on it and everything like that.